Hey guys, what's up? I'm here to do it's kind of a Blu-ray DVD vinyl CD collection update, but it's mostly this is basically just stuff people got me for my birthday. I got a decent amount of cash for my birthday, but my friends and family just wanted to buy me a lot of shit. I'm not going to say no to free shit though, so I'm just going to start off with the Blu-rays and DVDs. I got the Willies, which is an anthology film from like the early 90s that features Sean Astin, who is probably most well known for being in Goonies. I reviewed this movie on my channel way back in the day when I had like 50 subscribers. The review is still up, and that's one of my reviews where I was still doing it on a webcam, where I thought it's one of the webcam reviews I did where I actually thought I did a pretty decent job with doing it in front of a webcam. Essentially, this is a movie that is a bunch of kids telling each other stories while they're like camping in their front yard, and this movie's like PG-13, and honestly, I kind of think it should. It really pushes the limits for, I would say, PG-13, because there are two scenes where people get their arms ripped off. There's a scene where somebody gets their throat slit, and I know there's like a scene, and I know there's like a few scenes where it's like not even hinted at, but like confirmed that this monster eats children. And this is like a fucking anthology horror movie that's meant for like kids. But I really like this. The transfer on this DVD is kind of crappy because there's no really nice like transfer of this movie at all, which sucks. Like, it really fucking sucks. But there should be like a Blu-ray release of this from Scream Factory, because I think this is the perfect kind of movie for Scream Factory. It's obscure as hell, and it deserves more attention and more love. I got this 6-pack of horror movies, which most of these I already own. Actually, 2 of them I already own. The 2 I own are Created to Kill, which is also known as Embryo, and the Hooker Cult Murders, which I was like, that sounds like a fucking awesome movie. And it turns out I already owned that under the movie The Pyx, Pyx, is how it's spelled. But another reason to mainly get this set specifically is because it has Night of the Demon on it. Night of the Demon being a video nasty from the 80s that was banned in the UK. Again, just like with the Willies, these are really crappy like VHS transfers. They aren't that great, but I think that the transfer for Night of the Demon isn't too bad, but I really would like a nice restoration of Night of the Demon. It's essentially a Bigfoot horror movie, which you don't see too many Bigfoot horror movies that are like, that are great, or, I mean, I wouldn't call Night of the Demon great. I would definitely say it's fun. It's a fun movie for what it is. It's not great. It's far from being even a good movie, I would say, but it's cheesy and it's violent as hell, and it's the only movie where you're going to see Bigfoot just straight up rip a guy's dick off. It's hilarious. I got Blood-Sucking Bastards, which is from Scream Factory. It's a horror comedy like with vampires in it. I've heard this is a fairly entertaining little B-movie, so yeah, I hear it's fairly gory and funny, so why not? Teenage Slumber Party Massacre, a fairly low budget, shot on $100, I'm not even joking. I guess you could say it's a shot on video film, even though it's shot on a cheap digital camera. It's basically trying really hard to be like Slumber Party Massacre, hence the title Teenage Slumber Party Nightmare. But it fails immensely, and very similar to really any slasher film of the 80s, whether or not you know, it's good. The cover art is always like just absolutely fucking kick-ass. I'm sorry that really can't be made out too well, but the cover art is like always usually better than the movies with a lot of 80s like slasher films, and this one's trying way too hard to be like the ones from the 80s, to the point that like nothing interesting happens. It's just girls talking about stupid shit for like 50 minutes, and in the last 10 minutes people start getting killed, and it's literally just ketchup for the blood and the gore. Like, there's a scene where somebody gets a drill to the head, and the gore, like what's supposed to be like his brains and like torn flesh on the side of his head is literally just a big circle of fucking ketchup. And it's not like, oh, it's so low budget, it's charming, it's cute, you know, it's cheesy, it's fun, it's like Plan 9. It's not. It's fucking annoying, and honestly, I fucking hated it. See No Evil, Hear No Evil, which is Gene Wilder, God rest his soul, and Richard Pryor comedy about two cops, or I think they're, or maybe they aren't cops. No, they aren't. They work at a newsstand. I always get the fucking thing confused. It's been over 10 years since I've seen this, but from what I remember, it's a fairly funny kind of like slapstick, kind of goofy comedy where these guys witness a murder. One of them is blind and the other one is deaf, and hilariousness ensues. I got Oshima's Outlaw 60s, which is a box set of Oshima Nagisa films. Oshima Nagisa is a director I really fucking like. I really like his movie, particularly his two movies from the 70s. His two 70s movies, what were they? In the Realm of the Senses and Empire of Passion. And, yeah, those are fairly good movies. This is his stuff from this. This is a lot of his stuff from the 60s. 5 of his movies from the 60s. I watched one of them last night, which was Violence at Noon, which was a fairly interesting movie. But I really don't want to get into much detail about this set, because that's really all I know. I wanted to get this set, because it's like $40, and it's a lot of his movies. It's 5 of his movies, I should say, specifically. And I really like Oshima Nagisa. I really like his work. His direction is really nice. He knows how to make an interesting kind of movie about a dark premise. So, I wish they would do a release of his first 2 movies, which were The Sun's Burial and A Street of Love and Hope. Those were the Street of Love and Hope being from 1959 and The Sun's Burial being from 1960. Because both those movies do not have any DVD or Blu-ray release, at least in the US as far as I know. They might not even have a release in Japan, where they're from. But I remember I've seen both of those movies before, and they're great. My friend Damon got me a CD, which this is the band. This is the Wolf. The band, I think they're like a Swedish or Norwegian. I know that they are from fucking Europe. They're a metal band called Wolf Chant, and it's their album Call of the Black Winds. I mostly know this band because they were the fictional band Totem Pole in an episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, one of my favorite shows ever. They were a fictional like East German metal band in that episode, and they portrayed that band. And I wanted to get into their music, so Damon got me this for my birthday, and I've listened to some of it. It's pretty good shit. My sister got me this coloring book, which is serial killer coloring book, and like fucking, it's got information about the killers and everything. I think it's Jeffrey Dahmer, Charles Manson, Arlene Warnos. This is that one guy who like killed 100 children, I think. John Wayne Gacy. I think that's the Angel of Death, Zodiac Killer, Ted Cruz. This guy, fucking, I can't even pronounce his fucking name. Tomoyu Miyazaki. He killed 8 and had sex with like I think about 3 or 4 like girls ranging from the ages of I think like 2 to 3 years old to 6 years old, and he killed and ate these little girls and like fucked their corpses. It's pretty fucked. But his story is fairly interesting. He blamed horror movies and anime for his crimes. Jack the Ripper, which I thought was hilarious, they just put a big question mark over his face, even though there is a police sketch of what people think he looks like. There's a chessboard killer. I don't know about this guy. But this one's also got Ed Gein in it. And Elizabeth Bathory, the Blood Countess. Ed Gein, I like how this is a serial killer coloring book, and they put Ed Gein in it, even though he's not a serial killer. He only killed 2 people. But I guess he's such an iconic kind of murderer that they can't not include him. But yeah, that's fairly good shit. And then my mother got me this vinyl of the Ghost EP Hope Star. Really big fan of the band Ghost. They're probably going to break up here soon, which is a fucking shame because I love their music so much. There's a lot of stuff going on with the band and lawsuits. You look it up if you really want to know the details. I really love the band, and this is their most recent EP. All I have to do now is get their first album on vinyl, and I'll own their everything they've ever put out on vinyl. That's really it. From what from what my cousin and a couple other people tell me, they got some stuff coming in the mail for me for my birthday, so I guess I'll do like a part 2 of this later. But anyway, guys, this is Biscuit Boo Horror Reviews, signing off. Peace.